Hello and welcome back to Hydroponics Daily, your go-to podcast for everything soilless cultivation. Today we're going through the Hydroponic Growers Toolkit. What is that, you may ask? Well, it's something I spent all day putting together in the office, hopefully it's a really good resource that you'll find really useful and refer back to on a daily basis, just like Hydroponics Daily. But first, before we get into that, it's time for my new segment on the podcast, and it's Does the General Public Know What Hydroponics Is? And today we've got my wife. What's hydroponics?
It's a form of growing plants where you are able to control all the conditions, how much water, how much nutrients, your growing medium.
Not a bad attempt there, I would say. Probably about 7 out of 10. She didn't mention soilless cultivation, but she got many of the main aspects of hydroponics right. So, on to the Hydroponic Growers Toolkit, which I've prepared today. Basically, I put all the resources that I use on a daily basis when I'm growing or thinking about fertilizers or setting up the grow room into one place. And hopefully, I thought a lot of growers will find this useful. And so it's not proprietary information, so I'm happy to share it with you. So if you go into the show notes for this episode, I will post a link to the Google Sheet where it's all located. Also, if you look on any of our social media today, you'll be able to find the link as well. And if you can't find it, then just email me, russell@utrema.co.uk. So at the moment, it's about 4 sheets on a spreadsheet, but it's probably going to get to about 5 or 6. Don't turn off just because you heard the word spreadsheet. It is useful, I promise. So the first tab is commonly required conversions. And the first one is financial. So I find myself adding and subtracting VAT all day. So there's a little tab that does that automatically for you. There's currency conversions, pounds to dollars, dollars to euros, euros to pounds, all them. And the beauty of this spreadsheet is it's a live document. So all of the currency conversions are all real time. So I think there's like a 40-minute delay or something like that. So it's not old data. You don't need to go into Google and do it all. You can just put it all in there and do the conversions back and forth, and there's no problem. There's converting that's all the financial ones. For fertilizers, I've got converting different nutrients into their oxide levels and back again. That's really important when looking at fertilizers from other countries and working out what there actually is in them and comparing them. So you're comparing apples with apples, not apples with oranges. So I use that quite commonly. And then because we sell liquid gold in the UK and gold leaf in the US, we find ourselves converting from US to metric measurements. So we've got meters to feet and back again, Fahrenheit to Celsius and back again. Do you know the word centigrade? Loads of people still use the word centigrade. Centigrade is just for ovens. You're not supposed to use it in any other context, and it's not the scientific unit. Celsius is the scientific unit. You still find people saying it. Weight, grams to ounces, kilograms to pounds is on there, and also hectares to meters to square meters. And one that I always use, because we have a lot of customers in lawn care, is litres per hectare to mils per meter to square meter. So litres per hectare to mils per square meter. Surprisingly, that's a very common conversion factor. So that's one tab, is all the different conversion and ratios and things like this. Another tab on my toolkit is all the links that I use on a daily basis. So there's the website for Gold Leaf Liquid Gold and our product in Australia. There's all the links to all the different places you can find the podcast. But as you're on the podcast, you've already found it. There's a interactive VPD chart, and there's a VPD chart with grow stages. We might actually have a tab that just has VPD chart on this resource, on this toolkit, so you don't even need to click on the link. So hopefully my colleague Matthew will be sorting that in the coming days, so check back on there. Then for anyone who's growing outdoors, there's the date of the last frost and the chances of the last frost in the UK. And there's plant hardiness zone maps for the US and for Europe, so that if you're growing a plant that is harmed by cold or frosts, you know what sort of situations to grow it in. There's a link to a diagram of nutrient deficiencies for each major plant nutrient. And then I've got links to all the magazines and news sites that I think are particularly useful for hydroponic growers. Horti Daily, Vertical Farm Daily, MMJ Daily, Garden Culture Magazine, and then also the Journal of Experimental Botany, which is a super advanced journal, but it is really got some really good open access papers in there for anyone who's really want to geek out on their plant science. And then the rest of the links are recommended trade shows, places that I would go and go on a regular basis. So things like Green Tech in Amsterdam, Cultivate in Ohio, MJ BizCon Las Vegas, Fruit Logistica Berlin, IPMS in Germany, Fruit Attraction Madrid, and GrowTech in Antalya in Turkey. Then we've got a checklist of equipment that you should have if you're going to get started in hydroponics. It gives you the estimated cost for all the equipment. It says whether it's essential, and it gives some commentary on all of those. So myself and Matthew have been working on that today. And then there's a equipment list for expert growers as well, and the sorts of costs you'd expect to pay for all the things like that. So like CO2 enrichment, CO2 sensors, water sensors, UV lights, and things like this. And then the fourth tab is a dose chart for gold leaf or liquid gold if you're in the US. And then the fifth tab is a work in progress. That's all about the different systems. So information about deep water culture, nutrient film technique, ebb and flood, aeroponics, aquaponics, and passive systems. So loads of resources there that I think hydroponic growers will find useful. So as I say, these are conversions and links that I use on a daily basis. So as much as I've created this to help hydroponic growers out, I've also created it for selfish reasons because it allows me to get everything in one place. I'm not going to about 20 different websites every day. Hopefully we might be able to get this onto the Utrema or the Gold Leaf website. But if not, it'll just stay here on the Google Sheet. I'm not asking you to pay for this. I'm not asking you to even fill in a lead form and give your email address. It's not even adding to my SEO on my website because it's going straight to Google Docs. So it's a completely free and honest document. There is a little advert for some of our products on each page, but really that's a very, very small price to pay for the absolute value that you're going to get from this. If you click onto it, you'll be down as a viewer. So you won't be able to actually change anything on the spreadsheet, but if you just download it, you should be able to make a copy yourself and change your own copy as you see fit. So hopefully you'll find that useful. And if you think I'm missing anything on here, then I'm more than happy to add as much. I would love feedback. I'd love to have any other recommendations on either conversions, useful links, things that should go on the checklist, things that should be added, anything you think there might be an extra tab or anything like that growers would like, that'd be fantastic. So 2 more requests in return for this fantastic resource. If you're a first-time listener, please could you click follow or like or subscribe to this podcast. That would make sure that you get subsequent episodes. And if you know this would be useful to a fellow grower, please could you share this episode with them? So either send it as a text message, a WhatsApp, or on social media. If you could share this with as many growers as you know, then that would find this sort of toolkit useful. That would be fantastic. So yeah, please do that. Please share it. I'm begging you. Come on. Until tomorrow, that's been Hydroponics Daily, the Hydroponic Growers Toolkit. Hope you find it useful. Goodbye.